Hello. Hi, everybody. It's your host of About This Aging Thing. Your host. Let's introduce you first. Are you like the finale of going second? No.
Yes.
This is Mistress Angela.
Oh, say it again, girl.
Mistress Angela.
Hello, everybody.
And I'm Sabrina. And we are here today to close out the conversations that we have been having over the last few shows about dating. So we talked about dating younger. We talked about dating older somewhat. We talked about
dating after loss.
Dating after loss, after death, divorce, whatever the loss is. And today we're going to talk about dating outside of your race, as well as dating people from a different culture.
Wow, you sound so collegiate when you say that.
Yeah. I feel like articulating today.
Awesome.
Before we start, though, because you know how this goes, we're having our summer punch. We're kind of liking this.
Yes. Cheers.
A little something. Y'all want the recipe? Ask for it. It's delicious.
Inbox. Make sure you follow and you like. Did I get it right?
Please, yes. Follow, like us. About This Aging Thing on all platforms, except for Twitter. We don't do Twitter. And please subscribe to our channel. Please share with at least one person. We finally hit 100. Woo! We is famous, girl.
Yeah, we famous.
Subscribers. That's 100 people that care enough about us and our show to click, subscribe. It costs you nothing. So please help us out. We want to grow. We're trying to grow. We really like doing this. We feel like we're doing a good service. And we want to keep doing it.
Facts.
Okay. Facts. And we want to do it bigger, but we can't do it bigger until we grow, so that you know how this works. They can see, oh, they're growing. Oh, they have quite a few subscribers. Oh, perhaps we should fund them.
That would be lovely. But you also said that sometimes we have different subscribers on different channels, not just a YouTube channel, but we have people on Facebook and those other channels as well. Viewers, okay.
They're only viewing us.
Okay.
Yeah, and they follow us on Facebook too.
Right.
But the subscribing is only on YouTube.
Got you. Understand. See, I didn't even know that.
And we need the followers on Facebook and on Instagram About This Aging Thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys could do that for us, that would be awesome. And you can share from any of those platforms, from Facebook, from Instagram, from YouTube. You can share.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, sharing is caring.
It is.
You want to kick it off?
Wow. No, I think you should kick it off this time. I think so we're talking about dating outside of a race, right? Let me take a sip.
You do that. She has stories to tell.
I always have a story to tell, right? So I think at this space in life, a lot of times we get stuck. No different than we talk about dating younger or dating after loss, is that we get stuck and only think about a certain, I hate to say profile, but a certain type of person. And I think that we limit ourselves on different type of relationships we can have. Sometimes it's embedded in us and we don't realize it. Sometimes we just never think about it until somebody says something, right? Dating outside your race is not really a big deal to me, I don't think. I have many times dated outside my race and outside of my culture. When we talk about culture, I mean like from the U.S., right? You can date somebody from the islands, somebody from another country like Cuba or, I don't know, London or Canada. Like every nationality has their own idiosyncrasies, and being able to cross over those thresholds, I think, is a good thing to do. And people say, well, I don't want to date A, B, C, and D because they don't understand my background or who I am and my struggle. I beg to differ because we're talking to who our primary audience is African American women, right? People all over the world. Let me be clear. Let me lean forward to you, right? People all over the world love and praise and admire women of color. That's honest, right? We are seen probably in a lot of cultures as goddesses a lot of times, and I say that and people think a goddess. But people love us, and you should give yourself a chance to love people in other cultures. I'm gonna stop there for a moment. So I need to collect my thoughts. For some reason, I just had a hot flash. Okay, go ahead.
You got your fan?
No, I just got the tambourine.
So, for me, I don't date outside of my race.
Mm-hmm.
I have dated outside of my race. I think that when Black people hear other Black people say I date outside my race, they automatically go to white.
Mm-hmm.
But I've dated Mexican, and white, and an Indian guy for a couple of dates. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
He moved back to somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. But I don't typically date outside my race. Now, the cultural thing is becoming very new to me because they might be Black, but they might be African or they might be Caribbean, and that's the cultural piece for me.
Right.
That's the difference for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was telling you this before, that I forget because we're the same color that we're so different, and that the culture is different. So sometimes things are said and I'm like, what you say? Then I realize, wait a minute, that's not what he meant. He meant this because he's from a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn what what certain words meant in different cultures, different countries, same color. It's very confusing for me for a minute, just me remembering.
Right.
I think it would have been easier if somebody was from another country, if they were a different color, it would just be in the forefront of my mind that was so different. But when they look just like us,
right,
but they're not us, U.S., us meaning American,
right,
it's very different. So it was quite a learning curve.
Wow.
But I'm getting there. I'm much better in understanding the culture.
Absolutely. I was thinking back to some of the people I've dated, right? And it's not like I date I don't just seek out different nationalities, even in my own culture. I think we gravitate to our inner community, which is, for me, the African American culture, right? And that's who I'm around all the time. So it's logical that that's who I usually date and who I've married in the past. Not logical, but it's just because of proximity. I have dated Cuban, Latino, Italian, Caucasian. And through all those experiences, honestly, I didn't really think about the race, honestly, except for when it came to my immediate community, right? Mm-hmm. And because I am what people don't understand is just because I'm very pro-African American, I'm pro-Black, I'm pro-woman, that I am against other cultures and other races, right? We are in a time span where things are really racially divided in our country because of, the politics that we're all dealing with. But I still, when I meet a person that I'm attracted to, the race doesn't matter to me, right? Mm-hmm. And when I met you, I was dating somebody from that was Latino descent, and we dated for a few years. Yes,
I remember him.
And my experiences have always been great. There's never been anything negative. Even in the circles that we ran, I think because people knew me, they knew that whoever I'm dating is somebody who is good for me, if that makes sense, right? But we had different nationalities. His mother made me learn Spanish, refresh my Spanish, and we would sit and watch soap operas together, and that's how I remembered my Spanish back in the day. And we just had a great time. It was a joyful time. And when the relationship ended, honestly, it was because they wanted to get married and I wasn't in the space I was ready to get married, right? But when you find somebody that you're attracted to or that is attracted to you and you want to explore those possibilities, don't let race be the barrier. It's basically the conversation. You do have to be real about certain conversations and the differences, like you mentioned, the culture differences. Even when I've dated Caucasian, somebody of a Caucasian descent, which really is a multitude of things, right? They saw me for who I am. If that makes sense, right? And we were friends. So I think opening yourself up for different possibilities is no different than dating younger to me. Well, it's different for a lot of people, but for me personally, it's not any different than dating somebody younger or older or what have you. But it was some really good times. And as I said earlier, we are truly appreciated. One person that I think about that adores women of color is Santana. You know, if you listen to his lyrics, I think most of you guys know Santana, but he's married to an African American woman, or she's of African descent. I'm not sure where she's from. I can't remember. And his love for her is just amazing, right? It wouldn't matter if he was whatever nationality. I think it stands out because he's of a different nationality than she is. But they had to overcome some things. Younger generations they embrace different cultures and different races far better than what we do, I think. So we have to learn to open ourselves up. I'm trying to think what I want to say. You thinking?
Let me jump in there real quick.
Please do. I'm gonna take a sip.
So listening to you, I was gonna say, being born and raised in New York, I was exposed to many different nationalities. Period. Our block was crazy. Like we had a Jewish man, a Jewish lady married to a black man on one side of us, an Irish family on the other side of us. My first boyfriend was Puerto Rican. He was down the street, a few houses down the street. Like our block was crazy, in a great way. Yeah. And then being exposed, doing so much in New York, my mom taking us so many places and meeting so many. My mom was really good friends with and worked with some Jewish people to the point where we had to say, "Mom, you know you're not Jewish," because we were going to bar mitzvahs. It's like a lot going on. I say that to say, when you are exposed to different people, you are able to appreciate them. See, I think that when you're not exposed, then they're an anomaly to you. Right. Like it's foreign, and people say, "Oh, that group of people all look alike." And they might all look alike because you can't differentiate because you're not exposed. But when you start to get to know a group of people, you realize, oh, they don't all look alike. And they say the same thing about us.
Oh, they do.
Right.
They do.
And I was going to say, when you talked about young people being more open to dating different people, I believe it's because if they didn't have the experience of being raised in a metropolitan city that exposed them to that, it has a lot to do with the internet. The internet has exposed us all to so many different people and different relationships. And when people see people doing something, it becomes okay. If you keep seeing it, it becomes, it normalizes it. True. If you keep seeing interracial couples, eventually it's normal. It's like, oh, it's no big deal. Like when we first saw the Cheerios commercial, everybody was aghast. Oh my God, they're showing interracial, blah, blah. And now you don't, that kind of kicked it off. And now you don't hear about it because it's normal. You see black and white, Asian and black, Spanish and white. You see all of that on the internet. And it's all looks beautiful and everybody's so in love and blah, blah, blah. And it becomes very normal. I feel like the internet has done that for us as far as exposed us to things that we may not normally be exposed to in a good way.
I agree. So you were born in New York, right? I was born in the South, which you think you wouldn't be exposed to the same things, right? Because you said you had everybody on the same block. In the South, in rural South, you're going to have this group, that group, or whatever. But I think because I've always seen interracial relationships, it may not have been as popular back then as it is now, but I've always been exposed to relationships. And I've also been exposed in different things like, culturally and travel and education, where I don't really, in the same circles when we can talk the same language, it doesn't matter about the race as much, right? That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was just thinking about my upbringing. Yeah, I was raised in the South. You did have your racist groups. It was pretty prominent, and it wasn't as popular, but I've always been exposed to people having love outside of their own nationality. So
nice.
Yeah, exposure is a huge thing.
I feel like it's about what you want. I think some of us don't do certain things because we care about what people think. Or we care about what our family's going to say, or what are our kids going to say if we bring a certain person home.
True.
And I feel like you got to get to a place, and that's all real. And I feel like you got to get to a place where it's about your happiness. I would make sure that person is a good person before you have to go through the arguments, the fights, the things you might have to go through to find out that they're no good person. That'd be a waste of your time. But if you take your time and get to know that person for a while, a few months down the road, and then you realize, okay, I do want you to come to the cookout. Right.
Well, for me, that's the same thing I do with any nationality. I'm not bringing anybody around unless there's somebody I'm going to have around for a while, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter what their nationality is because, again, when you bring somebody, people are like, oh, wow, who, what, right? So No different than if you were of an alternative lifestyle, if you were in the LGBT community, right? You often don't bring people around until you know this is something you truly want to share with everybody.
But it matters to them. My point is,
it matters to them.
You can bring a no good black man home or a no good black woman, and it will not be as big as a deal as it would be if you brought a no good white person home.
True.
That's my point.
That's true. That's true. Valid. But if they're real with you, right, I would want you to bring somebody who's going to treat you right.
Yeah,
right.
That sounds great.
And I think sometimes having those conversations with your family and your friends, no different than what I've done in the past with you guys, right? Is that, hey, you know, I'm bringing somebody to the cookout. And I just want to prepare you because this is not your normal thing that you see. If it was, you know, a female, a male, a couple, or somebody from another world, from the other part of the world, or even if it was somebody here in Atlanta and they're Caucasian, right? That I don't want you to treat them any differently just because they look different than you. I would want you to be able to be open. And a lot of times you do have to kind of prepare people around you because sometimes people are shocked by what we do. And again, you know, I'm very much into community and uplifting my community. So sometimes people can be shocked by who you bring around for anything just they wouldn't expect it.
I think you also have to be sure about what you're doing. Like, don't let it be a default. Don't let dating someone out of your race be because you just can't find a good black person. Don't let it be that. Let it be that you're actually attracted to that person. You like that person. Don't let it be like, oh, all right, I'll go out with them. I ain't got nobody else to go out with, because that's not going to work. It's not going to last. You need to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and make sure as you get to know them that they're dating you for the right reasons.
True.
Whatever that looks like to you guys.
Yeah. And you two are the only ones that can decide that, right? I think it's like dating. Well, again, I know it's another tab to add, but it's just like dating anybody. You want to make sure you're dating them for the right reasons. What are you guys both looking for? If it's just some enjoyment right now and some fun and we're going to have a good summer, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But be true to who you are. Yeah.
And be ready for the differences. We're talking about dating outside of our race, right? So be ready for the differences. Be ready for, you know, when you're dating someone that's like you, we all pretty much, no matter where we grew up, have some of the same staples. Like, we all know that we all been greased up after a bath. I think in our knees and elbows scrubbed to.
We know about the hair time.
We all know about hair. But if you're dating someone else that's not of that culture, or then there's going to be a learning curve there where you have to understand and deal with what the differences of smell of the body, when it's wet, when it's dry, yours, mine. You got to be able to talk about that and be okay with the differences, because it's going to be different.
So you have to be comfortable in who you are, right? And be okay with whatever oppositions come your way, right? And also, you know, I mentioned talking to the family, but then also talking to the partner that you're going out with, right? Like, say, hey, there's a big event and I want you to come because I would like you to be there with me. You're gonna be A, B, C, and D. You know, this person's a little challenged. You know, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy, and they might talk about what the white man did to our ancestors. But you know, it's okay. You know, but don't let anybody disrespect you, right? People are gonna ask you what your intentions are sometimes, right? Especially kids. You know, you talk about older kids, and I think all of us are in that season space of life where a lot of us have kids that's in their 20s and even teens, or 25 or 30. I think a lot of us may have kids in their 30s too. They may have their own judgments, right? So you just have to really have some real conversations and laugh along the way, right? Sometimes the difference is, like you said, the hair things. So I mean, I understand, why does it take, 10 hours for you to get your hair done?
Oh, why is your hair different every week? Because we black.
But some black men say the same thing, right?
But he might say it, but he already knows.
Right.
He knows.
We change this stuff up. But people that really see you, and I brought something up earlier about in the different spaces that we're in. When you meet somebody that you have a lot of likenesses in, those differences can, enrich your relationship in ways that you can never expect. Dating somebody that maybe have never experienced I don't know, a hip hop concert. I don't know. Hip hop is everywhere, so that's probably a bad example. But exposure, exposure. Even when you're dating inside your race, people may not have ever listened to jazz before. So it's about exposure and conversation, and appreciating the differences that you have, right?
I'm gonna jump in again.
Please do, because I was about to say something I need to say.
Oh, go ahead, say
no,
it.
Go ahead, girl.
Come on, say it. You know, we like a little controversy. Think about, okay, I'm
gonna think about how I'm gonna phrase it.
I was gonna say, culturally, there are some cultures, Black men in different cultures in different countries, that are extremely passionate. And I had to learn that passion was not anger. Because in America, if we were to deliver like this, they delivered, I'm gonna say it that way.
You gotta think about your life, right?
We would be like, who the hell are you talking to? But realizing, oh, you're not being disrespectful. That's your culture. Like we were on a cruise and we got off in the Bahamas for the day. And these men were on the corner just talking and just loud and just, white people were scared. We knew though. We knew that it was like men in Brooklyn. They weren't arguing. They were just passionate about what they were talking about. So it sounded aggressive, but they weren't. So for me, to have a friend from another country who is very passionate, who says exactly what's on his mind, it was a learning curve. I had to stop and think before I responded. And then I had to ask for clarity. I had to say, when you said this, what did you mean? Before I just made an assumption. Because, if I didn't, we wouldn't be friends.
Sometimes we have trigger words.
Wouldn't be friends.
If I said, I gave you a whole dissertation about how I feel about something and you just say, okay. In the U.S., it's like you wasn't listening to me, right? But then for them, like, it was, that person was like, okay. But it wasn't anything derogatory. It was like, I'm trying to find the words to say I understood, right? It wasn't a negative. Oh no, I know what it was. Something about permission, right? And it was like, well, you can do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I know I can do that because I'm grown. But we're always on such a defense a lot of times as women, and men too. I don't know, the different how it works with men a lot of times. Well, I do, but we're talking about women right now. We're always on such a defense because we're always so ready to fight for whatever we're in the places that we are. And when they said they gave me permission, I was confused. I was really confused. But then they were like, no, I agree. That's a great thing. I'm just saying you can do that. Like, that's a good thing for you to do. So like you said, having clarity and being okay about the simple things before the simple things become big things in your mind. Because as we talked about many times on this show, we get in our heads a lot. And we think one thing and somebody means something else. Like, you can call me shorty if I was in a mood. Like, why are you calling me short? Well, you are short.
I had that experience where somebody was saying that to me, it's okay. And I'm like, I didn't ask you because I don't need your permission. Then I had to, whoa, that's not what he meant. That's not what he meant. But because I am from America. I took it completely wrong. And I'm so glad I caught myself before I really, just went off.
Right. Yeah.
It would have been a misunderstanding. And I've learned now what different things mean, so I don't respond that way. And like I said, I learned to ask if I don't understand.
True. So trust your intuition when you're going places and meeting people. I mentioned earlier that people love women of color. A lot of cultures love women of color. And when somebody they're like, oh my God, you're amazing. Sometimes we think, what do you mean? I do this every day. But it's such a reverence for how we carry ourselves a lot of time, and they are respecting our journey as a culture, right? We think that a lot of times that somebody's just after something, and you can have that in any nationality, but a lot of times men of other cultures and races can give you some praises that it's hard for our own brothers to do. Yeah.
I would get into why some men date women outside of America, and it's not because of the reasons you just gave about how we can be sometimes. But I think that might be another show.
I think so. I think so.
And the softness that they're looking for,
right?
Or the submissiveness that they're looking for.
Ooh, that's a trigger word for a
I
lot of
think,
women.
yeah, and I'm just going to say this.
Breathe.
I've been submissive. I can be submissive when you earn that. There are men who just earn it. I can't even explain it. Like this, they just who they are, and they walk in it. They don't have to ask for it. They don't have to speak on it. You just want to give it to them.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that another day, because most men who go outside of Black women or their race, period, not even just Black men of whoever who go outside their race looking for somebody who's docile and submissive in the way that we're not talking about, normally can't earn it, which is why they have to go get it from somewhere else.
Right, because women, we tend to be very aggressive for valid reasons, let's say that. But then some of us have learned to give reverence to men. Let me say that. Or men, we can do it both ways. Like some of us have learned how to be submissive and dominant at the same time. Does that make sense?
It does. If that's what you're talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there are men who just make you. Oh, let me correct submissive.
Right, because you don't know.
Because I don't want people to think. Right. I mean, I'm just.
You're not just. It's not the negative.
Not submissive. Not like that. Not like, oh yeah, baby.
Not passive.
Yeah, passive. Thank you. Not passive, but be able. Okay, let me give you this example. I was in DC once years ago, and I had this ink on my back, and I had a halter dress on, and the guy saw my ink, and he goes, "Oh my God, are you from Nigeria?" I'm like, "No." So we're having a conversation.
I love the way you just did it.
Yeah, we're having a conversation, and then he says, so we start talking. Like I thought he was interesting. I was actually there to see someone else, and I had the day to myself, so I was doing the tour by myself.
Right.
But anyway, we had a great conversation, and when I told him what I did at the time, we were rolling.
Right.
In our business, and I said, he goes, "Oh, you're one of those." I said, "One of what?" He said, "One of those women who don't need nobody, you strong." And he just kind of went off. I said, "Bruh, I am that woman, but I'm that woman because I have to be. When I run into the king that allows me to lay all that down and do it as I want to do it, not because I have to, it's a different ball game." That's the kind of submissive I'm talking about.
Right. What kind of submissive did you think I was talking about when I was saying submissive and dominant?
I was saying I wasn't talking about both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I was saying dominant because we do manage a lot of things, right? And there's a way to balance both of those. Submissive. Are you okay with somebody opening the door for you?
Absolutely.
Right. So that can be submissive, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes when guys open a door for a woman, women are like, I don't need you to open that door. Don't open that door for me. I can do it myself. Right? So it's not.
To prove what point did we do that? Well, why do we do that?
But we do that, right? So when I say submissive, allowing somebody to cater to you in the sense that they see you and they want to do for you, right? Mm-hmm. So submissive in that it's raining, it's pouring down, raining outside. Let me pull a car up closer so you don't have to run in the rain. Mm-hmm. Or your gas tank is on E. You know what? I'm gonna take your car to the gas station and fill it up for you so you don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, thank you. That can be submissive. That's a submissive gesture that you can accept what somebody is giving you. Submissive being that you can be able to receive, but you can also give, which is dominant, that you can see something in your partner like, he's had a hard day. I want to make sure that this and this and that, so he don't have to worry about it. You can be dominant in a situation. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're using the wrong words, but giving and receiving.
I hear you.
Right?
I think you explained that what you meant really well.
Yeah, giving and receiving in a space that a lot of men feel that they can't give to us because we have that mentality that you say, I can do it myself. I don't whatever. Men can also see that a lot of women, because we are successful, we don't know how to be submissive or receive in a relationship. That's why they go to a lot of other cultures as well.
I agree with you. I feel like my husband taught me a lot about how to do that. Mm-hmm. He used to say, touch that door and see what happens. Right. Because he was taught, he would reach over me and say, don't touch that door. Mm-hmm. Also, at the time when I met him, I was in a very dominant position at work, and was managing a lot of people, right, and responsible for a lot of things. Right. And he taught me how to leave that at the door. Absolutely. Because some of that used to come creep inside the house. Absolutely. And he would say, who are you talking to? Because I would be like, you need blah, blah, and then... and he'd be like, Jabe, you okay? Like he wouldn't even be saying it to be confrontational. He would say to bring it to my attention. Absolutely. And so because of that, I think once you have had that, absolutely, you know that it's possible. So whoever you meet, you can look for that I don't want to get all mystical, but that aura.
The aura.
You can look for that and know if they're already going to earn it or not.
Oh God, I'm about to have a power surge. It makes
You know
me
what I'm
relax.
saying?
So yeah, so I didn't initially. What I had to do was learn what it is that it means to be that way, right?
For you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that, hey, because we said some of the roles that we carry,
Mm-hmm.
when I got home, in order not to bring that into my relationship, I would say I need 10 minutes of decompression time.
Mm-hmm.
Let me switch gears so I can be present as your partner and
Yeah.
not as somebody who is a CEO, a director, or whatever
Yeah.
you're in charge of.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter the job title. If you're in charge of something, you have a tendency to bring it home.
Mm-hmm.
Let me decompress so I can be in a collaborative space versus you do this because I told you to do it, or why didn't you get this done?
Mm-hmm.
A, B, C, and D. And whenever I was in a situation, you need to take 5 minutes. You know, I'm gonna take 5 minutes before I do this so I can be present with you.
Right.
Allowing a man to be a man, if you're in a relationship with a man, and a woman to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can find it in other cultures because we don't always teach that in America.
Mm-hmm.
We teach our girls to be aggressive, to go out for what you want. You don't need this person, you don't need that person, which is valid. But then we also are doing a disservice about what it looks like to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And we think often that we just learn by seeing relationships, which we do. And a lot of times those relationships are dysfunctional in some place or form or another, right? We learn to be just totally quiet and don't say anything. Or we don't really see what a healthy relationship is in America.
Mm-hmm.
Other cultures typically are very grounded in going to the culture piece, not necessarily the race piece, but I think it's kind of combined. They do different things differently. Like they reverence the elders, right? We don't do that in America. We give praise to the youth versus giving praise to people who have wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody's raised a different way, they can see that and they want to pour that into you just like you want to pour into them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead. You got something else, sis?
No, that's great. I was gonna say that all goes for it. We talked about coming home, and we said it made me think about when we came home. We used to say everybody go to their corners, so we would go to our corners and take a few minutes to decompress, and whoever's turn it was to cook, the other person knew that they could go chill out because they didn't have to cook. So yeah,
It's the
I agree with you.
piece, right?
Yeah, communication is everything, no matter who you're dating.
Absolutely.
That's why I was saying you got to talk to people, understand their culture, understand their race as much as you can. Ask lots of questions and don't be defensive when they ask you questions.
Absolutely.
They're just trying to learn
Absolutely.
you, and they can only ask you.
Because your experience is different.
Mm-hmm.
The point of everything is just don't limit yourself because you just don't know. It's to open yourself up to other possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you just never who is for you unless you open yourself up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've had some amazing, beautiful relationships. I've mentioned about the one that I was with when I first met you guys. And even, so recently that some great people that may not look like you. Or they look like you, they may not act like you because they were raised differently.
Mm-hmm.
Open yourself up to different experiences in love in different places.
I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story.
Go ahead, tell the story, girl.
Quick story.
Because I can't tell stories.
You decide what you're gonna say. What you're gonna say?
I'm going to think about it. Go ahead. I'm going to take another sip.
Okay. So last time I was in New York, I was walking down the street, and we had called an Uber.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got to we were going to store. We were going to the store. When I got to the store, there was a guy, and he said he was from Cuba, but he was just talking. Your daughter was with me, actually. And she was amazed. She was like, Auntie, that man is talking to you. And he was like across the street. And I said, I heard him. And then I was like, hey. And he's like, no, he's trying to talk to you. And she was like, he's really cute. In the meantime, we get in the Uber, and it's an one of the finest Asian men I've ever seen.
Oh my God. Okay.
He was like 6+. It was summer, so yeah,
you can't even talk.
and I was like, and I had to be cool because I had my niece with me.
Right.
But I was like, he was just talking. And he was like, he said, have you ever been to wherever he was from?
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked it up on my phone. I said, oh, it's beautiful. He said, yeah, you should go there. And I was like, you better be glad it's a child in the car with me. But she was amazed at at how quickly 2 different nationalities
Absolutely.
were interacting with me
Absolutely.
within a few minutes.
Absolutely.
And I was glad she got to see that. And I'm glad she got to see me behave myself.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad she got to see like what that looks like. You know what I mean? And that people are people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was fun. That was funny.
You know, she gets to see a lot sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I think we were in DR one time, and you know, the kids got to see people interact because they're not with me a lot when I'm out socially, so they don't get to see everything. So they think I'm this little old hag that stays in the house all the time. True.
I don't think they think that, but okay, go ahead.
They think I'm lonely.
That's what you tell yourself.
But you know, some of the conversations and places that we go, and I think because of the experiences and the life we live, you know, you can have conversations with so many different people, and sometimes it is a flirtatious thing, but being able to appreciate beauty in any form, like you said, the Asian guy. A lot of people think Asian guy, what? But they're not just the physical, but the energy of who they are, the spirit of who they are. And that's really the end of the day. Like, you should be attracted to the person and not always just the physical, but there are some fine brothers across all nationalities. Yeah, and people that see you. People that see you. I have an eclectic taste of many things, right? And, you know, there's nothing for, everybody knows I love Prince, but for you to put on Nina Simone, for me, which is one of my all-time favorites, that's a sweet thing. You know, you get to know somebody on a level and you can have conversations. You know, the travels that we've had, you know, you've traveled a lot, and being able to have conversations, or like you said, the exposure period. And at this point in life, I think we've all been exposed to something. Being able to share your exposure with somebody else, you just never know who you're going to come across. Being open.
And I love people.
In fact.
So every time I talk to someone, it's not about trying to get with them, or
absolutely,
it's not about that.
It's not.
It's about, oh wow, this person seems interesting, and I think we miss things. I've always learned something from whoever I talk to. Either I don't want to do that again, or you know what I'm saying,
absolutely,
or something really great. But it's not always about, even if they're flirting. If I'm not attracted to them, I'll still talk to them.
Absolutely,
because you just never know, you know, what they might have for you, and what they're being used for from the universe to talk to you, and why they're talking to you. So
absolutely, you know, sometimes I made a lot of friends that I didn't realize they were attracted. Right, it was an Italian guy I dated for a minute, and he was like, you know, before we started dating, we were just hanging out, having a good time. We were having fun, laughing about whatever. It was a game or something, and we just started talking. And I think later on, I mean, we exchanged numbers about something we were talking about, and he was like, you know, I really would like to take you out on a date. What? For real? Oh, okay. I wasn't even thinking that way, right? So sometimes you meet some of the best experiences just because you're open to having conversation and just not really looking for anything, but it just kind of happens. You know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, like my friend who's in another country, he had on a big floppy safari hat, these big giant Elton John glasses.
Absolutely.
Clothes a little bit too big.
Absolutely.
And I didn't pay attention to him.
Right.
And then I gave him my number to help me with another language, to learn the language. He was very nice. He didn't seem like he was interested in me either, so I thought that was great. Because I wasn't interested.
Right, because I was
this clown.
I just need to know the language. Help
me learn the language. And he was so smooth with it. So I was like, you could teach it? He's like, yeah, I could teach you. So when he called, he video chatted me. And when I saw him, I was like, are you the same person I met? Are you the same person? He was like, yeah. I was like, you look so different. He goes, yeah, I do that on purpose.
That's what's up.
And it's good that he does, because if he didn't, he'd have a lot of women problems, because they're going to be after him. And then he smiled, and I was like, where'd that smile come from? He goes, I try not to do that, a big smile, because it always gives me problems. He got dimples. It's bad.
Right.
And I was like, all of that was under those clothes? I was so shocked. I was like, so now I call it his disguise.
Right.
So when I see him now, I said, put your disguise on.
Oh, yeah.
Before somebody gets choked.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now I just said that to say, if I hadn't talked to him, even though I wasn't attracted to him, I would have never seen that blessing.
Absolutely.
That's my point to that story.
Absolutely.
Children.
I have a friend that we've been friends for years, right? And I think I was going on about something one day, like life is lifing. And I'm going to have a drink after this. And it was like, for real? You want to get together for a drink one day? And I'm like, sure. And we get together and we started talking, and it was like, you know, you're the same person I've been talking to for the last 6 years, or whatever that situation may be.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh wow, I just never really thought about it.
When it turns.
But then when you sit down about something else, it kind of comes up in conversation or whatever the situation may be, right? I've always respected you, yada, yada, yada. And you're like, oh, wow, that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. Yeah, they go low key on you. So
close it out.
you close it out. I'm drinking my drink.
Great, it's your show, girl.
You finish the drink. You finish the drink. Just
about dating. What's this about? Dating outside of your race or outside of your culture.
Yes.
Leave yourself open. Do it for the right reasons that are right for you.
Right.
Stay open. Just stay open. Just try to love people. And I mean, I do have my preferences. I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I'm saying I am still open. I'm not going to not talk to somebody who's sitting next to me at a restaurant or whatever.
Right.
Because they don't look like me. I'm not.
Right.
If they strike up a conversation, I'm going to,
Right. Don't be judgmental. Don't judge before you know. Right. Mm-hmm. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of stuff going on in our country, and we can't just automatically assume everybody is out to destroy Black people, Black women in America, right? There are quite a few. Don't get it twisted. Mm-hmm. But give yourself the opportunity to experience something different. If you're not sure about it, then just kind of go in different places or see, the things. We go back to this again about the things that you enjoy. Sometimes people in your immediate circle may not like that. If you like hiking and nobody in your group wants to be outside, go hiking. Find a hiking group. If you run and your people don't run, then go run, because you meet all different types of people when you do the things that you enjoy. Make yourself vulnerable in the sense that you know what you want and you're not passing judgment before you get to know somebody.
I know we're running long, but I got a really great example of what you just said. Mm-hmm. So one of my colleagues, she's white, and she goes hiking, and a Black man from St. Croix was hiking in the fall. How likely is that? And they met on this trail. And she's never dated a Black man before. Mm-hmm. I don't know about him, but she told me she'd never dated a Black man before. Her husband had died. She was a widow. I think her husband had been dead for 2 years. And she just, was doing her thing. Mm-hmm. And she said that she couldn't believe she was talking to this Black man. And he couldn't believe he was on a hiking trail because he don't hike.
Wow.
Right. And they have been married forever.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So do what you enjoy, right? Mm-hmm. I like to skydive. Most people don't want to go skydiving. So if I go skydiving by myself, you meet people. Like, be open to whatever. What you say?
Nothing.
This is what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. This is why I go by myself. But, go and enjoy yourself, like the hike thing. If it's whitewater rafting, if it's camping, if it's whatever, go and enjoy yourself and just experience it. Mm-hmm. Just experience the joys of life.
Without an agenda.
Without an agenda. Real talk.
Just go.
Be free. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Dating is fun, and we are closing out this dating segment, right? And I know, like you said, we're going long. But the idea across the board, if it's dating younger, if it's dating after loss or divorce or nationalities, you got to give yourself permission to be happy at the end of the day. And whoever brings that happiness to you, it shouldn't matter the nationality, where they're from. And we got to talk about dating long distance. Or did we talk about that already? I don't know if we did. Mm-mm. Okay, but maybe that's another day. Give yourself permission just to be happy and to have some joy. If you haven't had the experience of joy in your relationships, or it's gone and you don't think you can get it again, I do challenge you that you can have it again. Mm-hmm. It may not look the exact same as you had it with your partner previously, but you can still find joy. That's really the idea about dating and getting yourself out there and believing that you can love again, or like, or enjoy, or whatever the situation may be. You deserve to be happy regardless.
And we've been focusing a lot on the females and talking about that on that aspect, but I feel like everything we said can be flipped around, and guys can relate to what we're talking about and learn from what we're talking about and do the exact same thing that we've been talking about.
Put yourself in whatever situation, regardless of your gender.
Yep.
I'm excited. It's summertime. Go out, have some fun, right?
I'm going to.
I am too. Any trips coming up?
No.
Okay. We'll talk about mine the next time.
I can't go nowhere.
I have one. What?
I don't know what to tell you guys.
I don't know what to say.
Thank
either.
you. If you made it through this whole video, God bless you. If
Bless
you made
you.
it through 15 minutes, thank you very much. Please share with a friend. Please subscribe. Follow us. Love us like we love you.
Yeah, I hope it helps.
Peace.